The New York Jets OTAs are underway. Jets have signed running back Tariq Cohen. Jets rookie cornerback Quantez Stiggers has already impressed many. All the rookies look really nice. We'll talk about that and much more in today's version of NY Flight Jets Talk. Let's roll.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Long.
Here we go. It's a Saturday evening, and great to have you guys here. Connor Long, host of NY Flight Jets Talk. So, a lot to unpack, and we're gonna get right into it. So, now it's happened. The media has had access to a good amount of the OTAs. Good amount of the OTAs so far. Media has had access to, and Brandon Pockris of JetX, Robbie Sabo of JetX, and many more have been there to give eyewitness breakdowns on the Jake Asman show. Jake has had them on every day after they've been there, so definitely go check that out at Jake Asman, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all platforms. But we're gonna dig right into what I mentioned before we played that fire intro by Gator. Quantez Stiggers, Jets rookie cornerback, who they drafted in the 5th round out of the Canadian Football League. It's very rare that you see a player from the CFL get drafted into the NFL, and he's impressed a lot. Brandon Pockris of JetX said, he's making plays. He also mentioned that he picked off of he cut the route off of Malachi Corley and then had a pick off Tyrod Taylor and took it to the house. So I love to see a guy like that they spent a 5th round pick on with a great story like he does come in and make an impact. So I'm really interested to see how the Jets work him in the regular season, but training camp he's looked really nice so far. Moving on, like I also mentioned, the Jets have signed running back Tariq Cohen, and this could mean a lot of things for running backs in the Jets running back room. Obviously, Breece is going to lead the way in this lengthy running back room, if you will. They have Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, both players who they drafted along with Izzy Abandokonda, and now Tariq Cohen. Let's break down what that means for Izzy. So I think, it wasn't Izzy couldn't have been happy when the Jets drafted 2 running backs because that only jeopardized what's good of that for Izzy. So that showed to me that the Jets didn't have a ton of confidence in Izzy, but then also going out and adding another guy like a Tariq Cohen who they're saying might only be used for special teams. I personally think might be a hot take around here, Jets fans, but personally, I don't see Izzy playing at all. I think at best he maybe makes the practice squad and then doesn't see the field, but I cannot see him playing at all. I think he's either a practice squad guy or he's cut. I just think that to keep Cohen because he could do more than Izzy in my opinion. He has similar traits to speedy guy. Given though he has not played an NFL game in a really solid amount of time, I think 2 or 3 years it is. He hasn't played an NFL game. So the Jets might take that into consideration. And they also said they only picked him up for special teams reasons. And then the 2 running backs, I think that the Jets drafted, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I think Braylon Allen will be running back 2 in this room, just a big, bulky build. Jets Twitter's memeing about, is this guy a defensive lineman or a running back? Just how he's built, a big guy. And then the Jets drafted Isaiah Davis, who I think, a speedy back. I like him. I think he's going to compete with Cohen for that 3rd spot. And, whoever doesn't get that is 4, and then I think Izzy's going to be 5 on the running back depth chart for this preseason training camp kind of mixture together. Like I said, I could see a scenario where Izzy is playing for a roster spot just because of all this depth the Jets have in the running back room. And like I said, I do see Izzy being a practice squad guy at best. Now let's stay on the offensive side of the ball, but move over to the wide receiver position. The Jets wide receiver room in the offseason only got better. Whether it was trading up to the top of the 3rd round to get Malachi Corley, whether it was, NYJ Matt sealing the deal and bringing Mike Williams home to Florham Park, New Jersey. this receiver room only got better. And then Garrett Wilson. They have Garrett Wilson. They also have Xavier Gibson. They also have Jason Brownlee. Jason Brownlee and Xavier Gibson are pieces I think Jet fans need to keep their eye on, as I think they could be big sleepers going into 2024 and really solid contributors. And you realized missing a name there. Allen Lazard. This might go down as one of the worst contracts the Jets have made in a really long time, and the Jets have made a lot of bad contracts. 4 years, $44 million, and he was a healthy scratch a few games last year. He just, he couldn't find it, and some might be like, well, it was without Rodgers, and Rodgers might help this. I'm looking, and where does he fall? There are reports saying already that he has had not a good start to OTAs. Reports saying that, and he didn't impress last season. He didn't impress at all last season. So personally, I think Jake Asman said at the time he thinks anything you get from Allen Lazard is a bonus, and I 100% agree with him. That's a horrible way to look at it, just because it's $11 million a year player. But on his contract, there is an out after next year, but you still owe him a ton of dead cap, but at least there's an out after last year if the Jets want to back off that deal. And I think there's a chance again where he might be scratched a few games. I think guys like Brownlee and Gibson are going to run laps around Lazard in terms of effort, ability, speed, anything. I think they're going to run laps around a guy like Lazard. So, personally, I see Lazard, I think he's a wide receiver 6 on this team. As crazy it might sound, I think he's a wide receiver 6 on this team. And like Jake has mentioned, time in and time out, you have to look at anything you get from Lazard as a bonus. And, it's a like I said, horrible way to look at that for a player that you're paying $11 million a year for. But bad deals are going to happen. And that's one of them where you're just going to have to say, God, this is one of Joe D's rare horrible free agent signings. He has had bad ones, but I think this might be one of his worst. $11 million a year for a guy, again, like I've mentioned, is getting healthy scratch. And like I've said, it does not help that this room got better. It would be one thing if the Jets did not draft a talented wide receiver on rounds 1 or 3 like Malachi Corley. It would have been fine if the Jets didn't sign Mike Williams. But these additions do not help Allen Lazard's position on this team. So I'm really interested to see the way the Jets utilize him in the preseason, regular season, and training camp. That's where I'm really intrigued to see how the Jets utilize him. But one more thing, we have a caller on the line, Bobby Midnight. Before we get to Bobby, I have some lists that I've pulled up that have been released these past couple of days. One was from Jeffrey Chadia of NFL Network, and he ranked the most improved teams going into 2024. And he had the Jets ranked, pretty high on this list, I would say. He had the Jets ranked at the 3 spot on this list, behind the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the Jets they're where they deserve to be on this list. I think the Bears 100% should be number 1, whether it was that really solid draft they had and great free agency on top of that. And then the Eagles, again, another team that just really improved. And then I think the Jets are the third one there, whether it was bringing Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, Mike Williams, drafting Olufashinu, Malachi Corley. I think the Jets are exactly where they deserve to be, and I think Jet fans should really be excited going into 2024. A fully healthy Aaron Rodgers under center. And let's say, he has to be out for 3 games. I am fully confident in Tyrod Taylor going 2-1, or let's say 4 games. I'm fully confident in Tyrod Taylor going 2-2 or 3-1, and I wouldn't rule him out going 4-0. I still think on some teams I'd look and I'd be like, okay, Tyrod Taylor, I honestly would feel more comfortable with him being the starter than a starting quarterback on another NFL roster. So I really like Tyrod Taylor, and after last year, it was vital that Joe D locked in that quarterback 2 spot. If, like I said, Aaron Rodgers has to miss 3 or 4 games in the 2024 season, hopefully nothing more than that. But if he has to miss them, we have someone that we feel comfortable with trotting under center. And then the second list that was released was, let's see, let me pull this up. PFF released, here it is. PFF released their top offensive tackle duos, top 32 offensive tackle duos. And the Jets finished Tyron Smith ranked 7th on their list. Morgan Moses ranked 18th, and they were ranked a top duo in this league, which I found really interesting because I think when healthy, this can be the same caliber as Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Call me crazy, but I think if both these players can stay healthy, I know it's very important that a guy like Tyron Smith stays healthy, as he's not played a full season since 2016, 2015. I believe it is. But if you can get Tyron Smith for 15 games, 14 games, I think that would be a good season for him. And he's never missed a playoff game. So, if we can keep that momentum and that streak of never missing a playoff game going into the playoffs with this team, if we can have him healthy, God, I think this offensive line can be looking really nice. And then Morgan Moses, former Jet, let him go. And then he just really made Joe D and company regret letting him go. And they do get him back. And I'm a fan of Moses. I definitely think he has some strides if he wants to really, accelerate to that next level, if you will. I think he's a solid right tackle. Again, stay healthy. If he's healthy, I think they can be right up there with even, fully healthy. I think they can be up there with Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. I really do. I think this offensive line is built so well with depth too, like preparing for a guy like Tyron Smith to miss 5 games. I hope it's not 5, but preparing for him to miss like 5 games, along with Moses, who always has his fair share of missing games. It's just something that I thought Joe Douglas did a really solid job of addressing this offseason. And then the final list is a really, really interesting list. Let's see. Here it is. PFF released the top 10 linebackers in the NFL, and this is really, really interesting. I think there's a player that's here, obviously from the Jets, CJ Mosley. And one might think, in their good mind, where is Quincy Williams? I'm thinking the same exact thing. The fact Quincy Williams did not crack this list to me is insane. I think CJ Mosley is very solid. I'm not going to be biased here. I think he should be 6, and I think that Levante David should be 5. That's just my opinion. I'd take David over Mosley right now any day. But obviously Warner's one. Roquan Smith was just a great. The Ravens acquired him 2 seasons ago, I believe it was, from the Bears. That was great move. Demario Davis is just a game wrecker, wrecks the game. Matt Milano, he could be all over the place, like I said. And then CJ Mosley, jar the ball free, interceptions, even forcing completions, leadership, everything. I don't think Jet fans could want anything more than CJ Mosley in terms of the way he leads this team. So I think CJ Mosley definitely deserves to be around that area on the list. But where is Quincy? Where is Quincy on that list? Tell me right now. Where is Quincy on that list? The fact he is not ranked as a top 10 linebacker in the league is absurd. Absurd. I mean, just look. He didn't even make the Pro Bowl. What does he do, though? He earns a first-team All-Pro. First-team All-Pro linebacker after CJ developed him. That's another thing. CJ helped develop Quincy into the piece that he is right now. Defending that Mosley's there. Mosley definitely deserves to be on that list. But where is Quincy? Tell me right now, where is Quincy after that, almost historic season that he had this past season? We have a caller on the line, though. We're going to go over to him. Bobby Midnight joining the show.
Hey, how
Bobby,
you doing?
doing well, Bobby.
Hey, what about that first list? I think the Jets could be number 1 at that list.
On the most improved team?
Yeah.
I would love to have a chance to that list once the season's over. If the record is played out, the statistics are over for the 2020.
Yeah, but why is the Bears number 1? I don't see the Bears.
Well, they drafted Caleb Williams. They drafted
who
Romo
cares?
Dunson.
I don't think he's going to be that good. What happened when they drafted Justin Fields? Did he do good? No.
Well, he was way later. He was way less hyped up too.
Oh, okay, but I still think the Jets should be number 1. No.
Yes, I have a question for you, Bobby. As a former Giants fan before you converted to the incredible franchise in the New York Jets. They
Yep.
had your old team had the Jets' backup quarterback, Tyrod Taylor.
Oh yeah,
And
he's good.
yeah, what are your thoughts on Taylor? How do you like Taylor?
Yes, I do. I wish he didn't get hurt. He got hurt a couple of games last year, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think that was a good pickup. Yeah.
Yes. And everyone, Bobby has started his own show, Bobby Woodruff on YouTube.
Well, Bobby
Everyone,
Midnight. They told me
Bobby
to
Midnight,
change it to Bobby.
yeah, Bobby Midnight on YouTube. Everyone subscribe. But Bobby, Jets
Yeah.
OTAs are underway.
Yeah.
What have you liked
Oh,
so
do you
far in
hear
this
the
team?
big story? Aaron Rodgers got a blister on his toe. You believe that? That was such a big story.
Yes, I
The
did.
Buffalo and
I do.
Miami got so excited. Oh my God. I got a blister on my toe. Big deal. What?
Bobby, I like the trash talking inside of the AFC East. What do you
Well,
see the Jets finishing in terms of record wise?
12-5. That's my prediction.
12-5,
Winning the division. I think they're gonna
winning the division.
lose one game against Miami.
Okay, I agree.
Now,
I think they're going to lose one
yeah.
against Miami. I think they're going to split with Miami and the Bills, and I think they're going to sweep the Patriots for the
No, I think they're
interdivisional
gonna
games.
sweep the Bills. I think they're gonna sweep the Bills.
I definitely think the Jets can sweep the Bills, but
Yeah.
just to be most realistic, anything can happen. That's why I put the Jets
Right.
splitting with the Bills. But I definitely
Right.
think like
I understand what
fully
you're saying.
healthy.
Yeah.
Fully healthy, everything. I think the Jets could easily sweep the Bills. I don't think it's that hard
Yes.
of a task to
Because
complete.
who does Allen have to throw to now? They got rid of Diggs. Who else do they? He doesn't have that many people to throw to, right? So
Sorry, could you repeat that real quick?
he doesn't have many people to throw to. So right?
Aaron Rodgers?
No. Allen on the Bills.
Josh Allen, yeah. I mean, there were
So
memes.
I think they're gonna sweep Buffalo, and I tend to think when they go down to Miami, they're gonna lose that game because they have more
Week
weapons
18.
down there.
I
And
think
then when they come up here, we're gonna kick their behinds.
Yep, we're gonna show them who's boss. Get revenge for that Black
Oh
Friday
my
collapse.
God, was that the Black Friday game?
That was the Black Friday
Oh
collapse.
my
Yep.
God, Doyle did not even have to throw that ball before halftime, right? Oh
Yep.
my God! I
Oh
said, "What are you doing, dummies?" What are
That
you
was
throwing?
that was a one. I think they might have been down 10 before they threw that.
Yeah, I know. No, they would have only been 3 down by halftime. I said,
I mean,
"Why?"
that's a one possession, 2 possession game, and then
Yes.
he makes that throw, and then
Yep.
that throws them out of it. When you're playing with a quarterback who's a quarterback 3, quarterback 4 level type guy, you have to minimize those mistakes. I mean, that
I would
just
have just ran the ball if I was
at that
them.
point. But what are the chances of throwing a Hail Mary and then someone taking it back to the house?
Yeah, and then the defense didn't help out, not tackling the guy. That's
The defense. Oh God, that was horrific. That was horrific.
I only shirt are you wearing?
What shirt am I? The Rangers.
jersey?
Rangers are on in 10.
Oh,
Broadcast
okay,
starts today.
those were the blue. Okay, the Rangers you like. Okay, you
Yeah,
don't like
Rangers. Big Rangers game tonight. But Bobby, I appreciate the call. Do you got any final thoughts?
No, you're doing a great
Thank
job on your channel, and I hope you do good. I can't wait till you get monetized.
Bobby, do me a favor. Once I hang up this call and I let you go in the chat and drop your channel link. And I will pin it in the chat so everyone can subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Okay, no problem.
Of course, have a great rest of your night, Bobby.
You too. Let's go Rangers. Let's kill those Panthers. Yes.
Yep. There we go. Let's kill them Panthers, is what, in the words of the great Bobby Midnight. Appreciate the call. We have another caller on the line, so we're going to head right over to him. Nick T joining the show. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
What's up, Connor? How you been? Long time no see, buddy.
Good, yeah. Long time no see is right. A lot of things have happened. I've been quite busy these last 2 weeks. I think my first time doing a show in 2 weeks, and I haven't spoken to you in a long time since the schedule release, really, and OTA. So what is your general stance on this team right now with the schedule being out, people having time to process it, and then OTAs with guys like Stiggers showing out, Cohen getting signed, Izzy playing for a roster spot? Where do you stand?
So the schedule, I don't like San Francisco week 1,
I hate
but
it. I hate
I agree. I hate it, but here's the thing I will say. I think San Francisco's been at the top of the echelon for the NFC for probably the last 5 years, we could argue, right?
Mhm.
With Shanahan at the helm. So they're due to take a drop off and a step off. So do I think the Jets are winning week 1 against San Francisco? Probably not, but eventually, just like we're seeing with Buffalo, it's a salary cap league. Teams take a step back eventually. So this could be the year that maybe they drop off and we steal that win week 1. Overall, think they're still in great shape. I'm not worried
Mhm.
about a thing. I think Rodgers is going to be motivated. As long as the health is there, the team will be fine. Couple things just about your current show as I popped in here. So the linebacker thing. So completely understand your point of view with Quincy, because Quincy outplayed CJ Mosley 100%.
Yes.
But what I will say is that list that you pulled up looks to me, and just at a quick glance, that a lot of those linebackers are signal callers. And I think that's what elevated Mosley over Quincy Williams.
Leadership too, I think, is a big piece of that too.
Exactly. Like you look like some of the names I saw just
Mario Davis, Roquan Smith, Fred Warner.
Yep, all signal
Jake
callers.
Davis.
You got Milano from Buffalo was on that
Yes.
list. So
Mhm.
they're all signal callers. I think that's why he got elevated. And I'm worried because I was a little disappointed. I was shocked. And one of the names pre-draft that I really loved in terms of I use the term, we talked about this when you were joking about my haircut, preventative maintenance, right? Preventative maintenance is a term that I use in my job every day. Now, planning for the future, right? Linebacker is an area. Quincy Williams is young enough. He's still got a future, but CJ's is long in the tooth. He's getting older. I think that, and he went completely to the spot where he's going to be super successful. But Jeremiah Trotter Jr.,
Oh God, yeah.
he fell to like the 3rd or 4th round, and I was shocked at how far he fell.
He's such a nice player.
Say again?
Yeah, I said he's such a nice player. He's just his film and everything. He looks so good.
And it was so disappointing because I'm like, there's the heir apparent. Here's our next stud linebacker, and we just kind of missed out. But I get, we were drafting on need at the time, so it happens. But I was surprised at how far he fell. But yeah, in terms of this year, I'm really excited. I think that the team kind of agree with Bobby. I think the team usually always splits with Miami, splits with Buffalo. New England's going to take a huge step back this year.
Nope.
I pray that Drake May is not what I think he could have been.
I don't think he's going to be anything. I don't think he's. I look at him and I think of Mitch Trubisky. Seriously, I don't think he's going to be good.
Is that because he played at the same school? I think you get a little recency bias from him playing at the same school.
No, I look at him and I think, again, another guy, Mac Jones. I think he could be something like Mac Jones, someone who I think is going to have trouble with that offensive line, getting out of that pocket when pressure's thrown at him, and then also making the proper throws too. I think you're going to see a lot of interceptions from May. Like I hope the Jets do what the Patriots. But I hope the Jets defense does do. I hope the Jets defense do the same thing what the Patriots defense did to Zach Wilson. I don't know if you remember, but I think it also might have been when he threw like 5 interceptions in one game his rookie year.
That's all. It was like 4 or 5. That's all that Belichick defense, though. That was what Belichick used to thrive on rookie quarterbacks. The thing I'll say about May, though, is when you compare him to Mac Jones, May is, at least from the bit that I've seen, he's more athletic than Mac Jones is.
He can move better. He's more mobile.
Yeah, so I'm a little worried about, but again, I think to your point, he might be a warm weather quarterback. So it might have been better for him to land in somewhere in Florida, Southeast, California, wherever. But that's the only concern I have. But I'm excited for this team this season. I think we're going to have a really good year to see. And, We've added enough depth that no matter what, I don't think we need to be as concerned. Like, people were talking about Lazard. That was a big topic this whole week. I'm not as concerned about Lazard as wide receiver 4. If we get to wide receiver 4, we've had some problems. And I think the thing that people need to consider is the scheme. And
I
granted,
think
Nathaniel,
Brownlee.
say again?
I think Brownlee's that guy.
Well, if Brownlee's the guy, then you probably cut Lazard because Brownlee's not a special teamer. So
The cap,
you're looking
though.
at wide receiver 4.
The cap with Lazard. I'd rather just suck it up with him this year and then take the out next year because he has an out in his contract after this season, I believe.
Yeah, it's the guaranteed money though. That's the problem that they
Well,
have.
we
Is
have
it's
to pay him
just
either
more out.
way. It's not like we're just gonna let him off, and we're not gonna have to pay him if we were to cut him today or post June. Well, it's tomorrow will be post June 1. But if we were to cut him in general, we're still gonna have to pay. It's not like we're getting off easy. So I'd rather just keep him. Hope he can like Jake has said, take any production he gives you as a bonus. Just hope he can manufacture something, do anything better with Rodgers because he hit rock bottom last year. I don't think he could really do any worse than he did last year. Just given that.
No, and he had Rodgers and Boyle as his quarterback. Like you have to look at it like in the sense. I think that we have to think big picture on this, right? Like. Granted, he might not start the season healthy, but Mike Williams is our wide receiver too. He's the big-bodied wide receiver. You have Garrett Wilson, who's above 6 feet tall. Corley, Garrett Wilson to an extent is your slot receiver, right? You have Gibson. So those are the inside receivers that you can use. Your outside receivers could be Lazard as a 3, Mike Williams, and Garrett Wilson. So when you look at it, you want to have 3 each. Inside and outside. So I think if an injury happens to Mike Williams, God forbid Garrett Wilson, you plug in Mike Williams, Alan Lazard on the outside, and Corley's your slot. And if Corley gets hurt, God forbid, you have Gibson as your other slot receiver. So that depth is always there. And I think we neglect that because, we're paying him a ton of money. And it's awful when you think about that. But if you had a guy like years ago, Kenny Golladay is your 4th wide receiver, you'll take that because you toss it up to him inside 10 yards inside the red zone. And as long as he doesn't have stone hands, I know he's had stone hands this preseason so far in the camp, but he's big body. You put him 6'4" receiver against a 5'10" corner, that's 6 inches. That's a significant difference for a jump ball.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, a big body guy. But I have a question for you, Nick, before we wrap up the show. I've been very vocal on this situation with the Jets signing Tariq Cohen and Izzy's position on this team. Where do you see him falling? Because I see him making the practice squad at best.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing for Izzy is the pass protection. I don't think he's good at pass protection. I think that's what kept him off the field. Can he run the ball? Yeah. Say again?
That's what Hackett said last year in Week 14 when people were questioning why he wasn't playing. He said they weren't feeling fully confident with his blocking. I don't care. Anyone who can block, honestly, in the backfield at this point, line Ruckert up there. I don't care. Someone who can block.
Well, I think that's why they got Braylon Allen because he's a big guy, and I think he'll be able to handle some of those linebackers. So I mean, with Tariq Cohen, I'd love to see him return to that form of 2019. He offers that ability to return the kick. So I think he's on the block. He's definitely on the block. Maybe he's competing for that 3rd running back spot for sure.
Yeah, just signing Tariq Cohen, drafting those 2 guys already sent us into Izzy. And when I was bringing this up, when I talked to Adam Schefter of ESPN, I said I didn't think Izzy would be ready to play running back too. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, why? I was like, the pass protection, and when they put him in a minimal reps last year, I thought he looked okay. But I would have if the Jets didn't draft a running back and they just went in with Izzy as a running back too, I would have not. I still wanted Dobbins. I wanted Dobbins. I don't care that we drafted a guy down. I wanted Dobbins big time. Bring him in a 1-year deal. He can be that running back too. And then if he doesn't struggle, open the door for Izzy or a guy like a later round guy. I wasn't a fan of the back-to-back running back picks, Allen and then Davis.
I think that me either. I agree with you on that side. I think the strategy behind it is right. You want fresh legs, younger legs in the running back. You don't want worn. It's an old I know Jake loves him, Francesa thing where you don't want used mileage on your running back. Because look at Le'Veon Bell. Like how many running backs have we signed that have just been completely run through the mill? So you usually in experience, they usually sign undrafted late round running back and to compete, mid-round running backs, and they compete and they give them the first shot in camp because you give them the reps now with rookie mini camp and everything coming up and training camp, and then you see where you're at. The problem that we have as Jet fans, and I know I've done this a little longer than you, is that the Jets historically, and you've seen this too, last year is a prime example with whether it's Carson Wentz or the Matt Ryan garbage with the quarterback position. The team historically does not adjust well when injuries happen and signing the next tier player. Like, what was it? Saffold, right? Like when we never even saw Saffold, and we were so excited. Like, here's a Pro Bowler that we signed mid-season for injuries, and give him a month to get in shape. He never even showed up. So
I don't think he was even on the 53 man. Like, he wasn't even like scratched. I don't think he even like cracked the 53 man before they actually cut him. Like, and that was so funny because that was one of the classic Joe D like free agent signings where like at the trade deadline he does absolutely nothing and he's like, okay, how can I like try to attempt to please the Jet fans? Okay, let's go out and sign this 36-year-old, however old he is, washed up tackle. And then it was so funny how like literally the second they signed him, everyone was showing like the clip on Twitter of Quinnen Williams like just bulldozing through him when they played like Buffalo or like a year or two ago. So that was just like a classic Joe D move. But Nick, I appreciate the call. We're gonna wrap up the show
Thanks,
here.
buddy. Have a good one.
Got any
final thoughts? Just go Jets, man. Enjoy football. It's coming. We got a few more weeks, so get ready.
Yep, I agree. Thank you, Nick, for the call. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. It was a great show. First time back in a long time, everyone. Like I said, thank you for tuning in. Rangers are on. 8:20, I think, is puck drop. Let's go, Rangers. Force a Game 7 against the Panthers like they did to the Canucks and like they did to the Eastern Conference Finals in 94. They had to force a Game 7. They won, and then they made it to the Stanley Cup against the Canucks and won in Game 7. So hopefully we can have a repeat of 1994. Let's go, Rangers. And as always, JTS, Jets, Jets, Jets.